Okay, so in this video I want to talk about um, a topic we've been practicing mainly on Khan Academy, which is talking about the slope of a line and the slope-intercept formula form of a line based off the graph that you see, or maybe you're trying to graph a line and you know about the slope-intercept equation um, that you can graph by using the y equals mx plus b formula. So some of y'all have been practicing this on Khan Academy, and I can see that. I can see who's been working and who hasn't tried it yet, and also who's struggling with the topic by this graph in my coach's profile at Khan Academy. So each one of these topics has names in it of students who've tried it and done well, or students who've tried it and haven't done well, and also students who haven't tried it at all. That's what the gray area is. And I'm not going to click on any of these because I don't want any of y'all to know the progress of your friends at all. The only one I'll have open is actually the one under the one I want to talk about, which nobody has actually tried, which is fine. Um, because we don't really need to worry about this topic right now until we have all gotten to the mastered area of slope and intercept equation from graph, which is what I want to talk about today. If I click that, you would actually see this expand out, and you'd see all the people who are struggling with the topic. And so let me just kind of draw you what it would look like. It's about that many people, and I'm not going to say who they are, but I am going to say that all of the people in here are fully capable of being able to understand this topic. So that's why we're making this video, so that we all understand it and we all move on. We got a few people also in the practice category, so y'all have tried it and y'all seem to get the topic. We have one student, I think, or maybe two over here in this category, and nobody over here yet. So what our goal is that we're going to get everybody moved from here over here. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So the way you get to this is you go to your 8th grade tab, and you scroll down a little bit, and you'll over here in linear equations and functions, it is the 12th box over. So count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah, 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 up to 12, and there it is. So let's click that, and then it will actually show up. I've already put this in my sequence tab, so it's already there. If you haven't put this in yet, if you haven't practiced this yet, it will pop up to the top and right under your next mastery challenge, and you need to click on it and start practicing it. So here we go. We're going to practice it now. Basically, the way we are starting these is you need to find these. You need to set up everything in this formula. Y equals mx plus b. That is the magic formula for lines. And the two important letters here, we know about x. We've been doing that on Carnegie. We know about y. We know about x and y because we've been dealing with coordinate graphs for a long time now. We know exactly what that is. So if you're not familiar with m or b, well, then you need to know that the b is the y-intercept, which means that is the point on the y-axis where the line hits. And so right here, it's there. It's that one. It's 3 in this case. So we know that the b is 3. And that can be the first step for solving these equations if you want to do that. You can say, boom, all right, that's where it's hitting. Maybe it's hitting down here. Maybe it's hitting way up here. Maybe it's hitting through the origin. And then the y-intercept would be 0. Right? So you got to make sure you know if it's up here, it's positive 3 in this case. What if it was down here? Well, it would be like -6 or something if it was going through there. So you just need to watch out for what you have in the given problem. So slope is a little bit trickier. M means slope. M is what we use to tell us how much this line is slanting. So you always figure that out by saying the change in y, or the change in elevation, or the change in height, maybe. Depends on what word you want to use. Height, elevation, tallness, whatever you want to say. All right, that goes on the top of this magic slope fraction. And on the bottom, we have x distance. So we can think of that as length or distance, I think is a better word. So let's use distance. So you can think of it as a mountain. Let's say we're going to Winter Place Snow Resort. All right, so we got our mountain. We're going to go skiing down this mountain. And let's say we've got this really steep mountain. You see there's a high elevation change. So our height is tall. Let's say we've got this really big mountain. Height is big. All right, and the distance that we're traveling, x, is not so big. So this would be like your black diamond kind of slope, right? We don't want to mess around on this. This is really steep. This is steep slope. That means that your m is going to have a big number like 5 over 1. Okay? This means that we're going to have a whole number slope, like 4, like 3, like 2. All right? That would be your black diamond slope. It's steep. It's bigger in the y direction, and it's not as big in the x direction. All right, on the other hand, maybe you've got the bunny slope, where we don't have very much height, but we have a long x distance. So your y distance isn't very tall. Your x distance is actually a lot longer. So this is more like the bunny slope. All right, let's say that is the green circle. All right, so what that means here is that we've got m. Ooh, should probably fix that. Yeah, sorry. All right, we got the m being a fraction. Remember, because we're always thinking about this as a fraction, with a smaller number on top. Let's say like 1. All right, let's say this y equals just 1. And let's say the x equals 3. All right, so then we have a situation where the slope is actually more of a fraction, which is a much smaller number than something like 3 over 1, or 4 over 1, or 5 over 1. Which, of course, you guys know that. It would just turn out to be 5. It's just a whole number, 5 or 4, 3, whatever. So we know that bunny slope is easier. It's more chill to ski down. And we would see that as a fraction, right? When we would see that line would actually be much more chill and going across the screen as a much more shallower slope that would be much easier to ski on if it was covered in snow, like most of the mountain slopes are right now. They're covered in snow, and we all wish we were going to ski this weekend. Anyway, maybe you are. So congratulations if you are. Anyway, let's get back to the problem. And so we were talking about y-intercept, which is 3 in this case. Let's go ahead and put 3 in there. And in this case, so here's how we're going to figure out slope. I'll pick a different color. So you can find slope by telling any of these points where it actually intersects the graph lines in the graph paper. So we found one right there. You can also do it down here. You can find another one right there. There's another one. Let's just find a whole bunch of them just for fun, because this part of the exercise is fun. Connecting the dots. Woohoo. All right. Anyway, we got enough of them. And of course we know about this one, because that's the central one there in the middle. All right, look at this. I've found a whole bunch of points that all hit graph paper lines, the little intersection points of the graph paper. And basically the best way to figure out the slope is to go in between 2 of them, like this, and find the x distance. So in this case, we got an x distance of 1. And in this case, we've got a y distance of 1, 2, 3. So basically, the way we were talking about it a minute ago was there's our change in y, there's our change in x. Well, there's our change in y, and there's our change in x. So to get slope for this line, we know that we're doing 3 over 1, which is just 3. So we put that in here, and we know it's positive. All right, one more point to make here. We do know that this is positive because any line that's pointing up towards this corner of the graph is the positive lines. Any line that's actually pointing towards this corner of the graph paper is a negative line. And you can tell that because we're moving in the positive direction in x this way, and we're moving in the positive y direction this way as the line goes up this way. So we know that we have a positive 3 over a positive 1. Oh, sorry, positive there. Positive 3 over positive 1. So that's why we know that this is right. Ba-ding! All right, got it. Okay. So let's clear all this and let's go to the next one. Let's try another one. So we've got another one here. Go ahead and find your y-intercept, which in this case is down here in the negative section, so it's -9. And we can find some intersection points. So here's one, and here's one, and here's one. Am I getting these right? Let's see. Yeah, looks good. All right, changing 1 in the x direction, changing 1, 2, 3, 4 in the y direction. So we got 4 and 1. So this is a very similar problem to what we had earlier. We got m equals 4 over 1, which just equals 4. Kind of boring. Hoping that Khan Academy gives us something different here to work with. Okay. Now we got a slightly different one. You can see what is different about this because we have a line that's heading up into our negative portion of the graph paper. So that's cool to see. Let's find the same process though. There's nothing really different about it. Let's find our y-intercept is +7. So we can put that in here. And let's go ahead and start figuring out what we're going to do about this slope. Let's just work over here. I like working where I have some space. There's an intersection, there's an intersection, there's an intersection. Okay, you get the picture. All right. So we have basically we have again another change in x, which is only 1, and we've got change in y, which is 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we got change in y is 3, change in 1 is x, but in this case you can tell what we've got is just a little bit different. We are going in this direction this time if we are going up. So we are going in the negative direction backwards, and then we're going up. So in this case, when we write out our m, we're actually going 3 in the y direction, but we're going -1 in the x direction. You could also think of it the other way around. You could say that you're going down in the y direction and positive in the x direction, which means you're still going 1 over here and you're still going 3 over here, but you're just going -3. So you're going 3 down. You could say that this is the same thing as saying 3 down and +1 up. Doesn't really matter because in the end of the day, you've got a negative sign somewhere, which just turns the whole thing down into -3. So that is why we're going to put -3 over here and get in another smiley face, which is awesome because that means we just practiced it and sent me down to level 2. Great. Okay, so here I understand sometimes you guys are working on this stuff. Like, I obviously know what I'm doing, but in this case, Khan Academy just sent me down to level 2 because I've been, practicing with this around. It's like, oh, you still need practice with it, whatever. And so I understand some of y'all's wheels have been higher up, and then you'll notice, oh no, why is my wheel going down? Well, it might be because you're working too hard on stuff like this. So I understand that. I promise we're not going to be doing grades off Khan Academy anymore. We're just going to do practicing off Khan Academy. And I'm going to give you your grades, better ways, like actually doing work in class and stuff. So promise that's going to work. In the meantime, just practice as much as you can, and we will go from there. So awesome.